A big part of my journey was recognizing that I had soul loss, partial soul loss, and I
Mm,
needed to call those parts back. And that might have been my sadness, right? I was like, there's a deep grief here. And
yes.
that's what it was. I needed to get those parts back and
Mm.
start to really love myself.
Hello, dear ones. This is Colleen Akiko. Welcome back to We Be the Change, where we explore illuminating from within to transform without. If you've ever longed to feel in love with your soul, to trust yourself again, to reconnect with that wise, whole, untamed part of you that knows, you're going to feel really deeply seen here today. This conversation is one I feel truly honored to share. It's with someone I've known for more than a decade who has walked the mystical path with grounded, soul-centered grace. My guest is Tessa Lynne Alburn. For over 25 years, Tessa has been guiding visionary women back home to their soul, helping them reignite that inner light and embody their feminine power and raise their vibration in service to the greater good. What unfolded in this episode is less of an interview and more of a soulful remembering. So I invite you to let this conversation be a gentle, loving invitation from your soul to be home. I am blessed and delighted to be here with my friend Tessa Lynne Alburn. Tessa is a spiritual guide, energy mentor, author, and soul connection coach. And for more than 25 years, she's supported women consultants and entrepreneurs to live an ideal life through a system of reigniting soul, embodying their feminine power, and raising their energy into the highest vibration so they can live authentically while walking the mystical path with practical feet and make a lasting contribution toward the highest good of all. Thank you, Tessa, for being here on We Be the Change.
You are very welcome. I'm really honored to be here. Thank you for thinking of me. And I'm sure it's going to be an interesting conversation.
It always is. You always surprise me every
Mm,
time I talk with you, and we've touched base with each other over many years.
many years. Yes, that's right. More than a
I-
decade now.
Yes. And you are one of those people in my life who, no matter where I am, you are able to show up and be there with me. And you have
Mm.
a really wonderful gift that way. And I know it didn't just kind of hop along the path and hop on your shoulder. I know you earned it. It is a gift that you've earned.
Thank you. Yes, that's a funny thing because my current coaching practice, every now and then one of my clients will say, but it's so easy for you, or something like that,
Mm.
right? And
Uh,
I'm like, I think it's time for a story here because I want you to understand where I began,
yes.
right? Like I began at the same as you or before then, even.
Oh, yeah.
And it took many, many years to learn. And we didn't have the internet back then. So we were like reading books, right? And talking to people and going to people's gatherings and trying to find mentorship and healing in
Yeah.
ways that we could access and also weren't just, charlatans out there. Because I've
Yeah, it
certainly
makes
run into
sense.
those as well.
Yeah. How do I make sense of what I'm experiencing? I'm upheaved and unsettled, and yet there's some exhilaration there. And I feel like I want to be in love with my soul. And what's that about? All kinds of.
Yes.
Way back then, we couldn't find a YouTube. What was YouTube?
No, and that's an interesting question you just asked. I think it was a statement in the form of, I want to be in love with my soul.
Yes.
And that's a thought that wouldn't even have occurred to me
Mhm.
years ago. Like I knew there was a soul and I could feel my soul, but I felt like my soul was hurt.
Mhm.
My soul was hurting. It was hurt. It was sad. And I had over identified, the hardship of my life with my soul.
Mhm.
And it took me a long time to get to a place of understanding my soul enough to know that she actually wanted good things for me. And there was nothing wrong with my soul.
Yeah.
My soul was fine. It was more than fine. I
Mm.
just wasn't able to connect with my soul in a way that made sense. And there were aspects of my soul that weren't talking with me because they had, in fact, gone to other realms, the non
Mhm.
ordinary reality we speak of when we're talking about shamanism,
Mhm.
to protect themselves from chronic situations.
Mm.
And so that was a big part of my journey, was recognizing that I had soul loss, partial soul loss, and I
Mm.
needed to call those parts back. And that might have been my sadness, right? Like I was like, there's a deep grief here. And
Yes.
that's what it was. I needed to get those parts back and
Mm.
start to really love myself, regardless of all the programmed beliefs
Mhm.
I had about who I was supposed to be in the world, who I was supposed to be, and how I was supposed to serve and sacrifice myself and suffer. There was a big paradigm around I had done something bad at some point, and therefore God abandoned me and needed me to just pay penance the rest of my
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I better make something really good out of my life because I messed up really bad.
really badly.
I
Yes.
know that. I know that story.
Uh,
Yes. And now you are a soul connection coach. I love
yes.
that. How do you talk about the soul? Because the soul is so undefinable, and yet we don't want to put it in a box of words or put us in a box of words. So, how can you describe for someone who's just coming into, oh, a soul? Hmm.
Hmm. Well, I think most of us go through life and then at a certain point, we're like, there's something more. And not that there's something more in terms of what I can have or buy or all that stuff, the luxury stuff. There's that too. But there's that deeper purpose. People have been asking this since the advent of existence. What is my purpose? Why am I here? Do I exist afterwards? And there are all kinds of faiths and religions that try to quantify it, that try to say, this is the only way, this is the way it works, and therefore you should not ask any more questions.
The end.
Yeah. And
Be a
that's the
good girl
thing.
and shut
That
up.
is the thing with soul. It is never the end
Right.
because the soul is like, I think of it like a container of growth and also wholeness and connection to source.
Hmm.
And I think we tend to forget that the most. When we're thinking about a soul, many people are sort of coming from that place of like, I need almost like ego soul. Like, I need
Yes.
a soul. My soul says this, my soul says that. No, I don't feel it in my soul. I need a soul mate. That's a specific ego
Yes.
thing. And we think if we have something like a soul mate, then our lives going to completely change and we have come to nirvana and we're special and
Mhm.
aren't we great? And
Everything is beautiful.
it's all beautiful. And look at that. My life just fits together, one glove, two gloves, there they are, beautiful. But we can have many soulmates. And I
Mhm.
do believe we have many soul friends, part family, soul group, soul family that are perhaps similar enough in wherever in the oneness at one point where maybe we were next to each other in the oneness. I don't know how it works, but at some point we said, we get each other. We're kind of on a certain level and we want to help each other grow. And then there are other souls out there who are on a completely different journey who show up in our lives to really teach us. Like usually
Mhm.
these are the antagonists, the ones we don't want anything to do with. There
Mhm.
may have been some kind of agreement on the
Sure.
on the other side of things
Yeah.
to help
I'll be
us
the
all.
narcissist.
Yes, learn and grow. And I think that's really what it's all about. It's about learning and growing and knowing we're never without our soul's love. We're never without her love.
Mhm.
And sometimes we can't feel it, but it is there. It's like it's in the ether. You can't not have it.
Yes.
If we didn't have a soul, as I like to say, we would just into a burning bush. That would be it. And even then, we would probably still have a soul because bushes have
Just
souls.
wouldn't have a body.
Yes, exactly. Oh, we just wouldn't have a body. at the soul, there's something, some great intelligence. So if I could pick two words that it's closest to, it's that great
Mhm.
intelligence. And then I'm going to add a few more with love.
Yes. Always
Yes.
love.
Always love, care, love. And with all that comes acceptance and patience. And, they're not in a rush. Our souls are not like, hurry up and get this.
Thankfully. I love what you were talking
Yes.
about towards the beginning of when we opened up the soul topic about our soul being that part of us that blends and connects with source. And the words definitely fall short. And yet we can have a sense of that. It's like we'll use words, say, like, oh, this aspect of me that is connecting and blending with that which brought me forth somehow. I'm finding myself personally that this blend place, this sacred blur. I like that. I just spoke about that in a group that it almost seems silly to even find words because it's more of a deep coming home sense when we are resting in the love of our soul and our soul is delighting that, oh, you see me. We love each other. We're here. We're together. We're breathing together. I'm breathing you. You're breathing me. This
Yes.
union, this intimacy that is, I don't know what to call it, coming home.
Yes. I think coming home is, I hear those words and I immediately connect.
Yeah.
I think of Sandra Ingerman, who wrote a book called Welcome Home.
Mm,
That was about soul retrieval and retrieving parts of the soul that had fragmented soul loss. That's
yeah.
been a big part of the work that I've done over the years, helping others to retrieve soul parts.
Beautiful.
There's a, it is, it's like coming home. It's always there for us, but we need to learn to trust it. We need to learn to listen to it and feel it
Yeah.
because
So
it
how
doesn't
does a
always speak,
person,
right, in
yeah.
words like we're expecting. Yes.
Yeah. How does a person who is feeling drawn to come into that sacred union with all the parts together, how does a person approach even moving that direction in a way that feels safe and secure and just saturated with peace?
Mm,
Because, in a sense, I believe that all parts are never totally gone. They're connected and yet not close sometimes. That's how it feels for me. And I remember many years ago, I found a book on soul retrieval and I took it up camping in Idaho and sat by a river and did my work with the book. And it didn't feel like I was doing the work apart. I wasn't separate. I felt like I was helped along in the work. It helps to have a guide. And in that case, the guide was whoever wrote the book. And I know you and I have had sessions way back when, and
yes.
so helpful. And I guess the sense that we're never separate and alone when we are feeling drawn towards experiencing wholeness. Thank you so much for tuning in with us today. Whether it's feeling your emotions fully or reclaiming soul fragments or just finding safety in your own presence, Tessa reminded us that our soul has always been with us and is always ready to reconnect with us wherever we are. What part of today's conversation spoke to you? I'd love to hear. Reach out, leave a comment or a review, or share this episode with a friend who might need it. Let's keep the fresh, deep dialogue going. You can find all the resources that Tessa mentioned, her Soulful Shiro's Journey tool, info on her sessions, her latest, all linked in the show notes. And you can find some great surprises, including a free Out of Your Head Into Your Light e-guide and more at songrise.live. That's SONGRISE.LIVE. So until next time, may you trust and enjoy the quiet voice within and know You are already whole. You are already enough. You are already home. Lots of love.
We can have many soulmates, and I do believe we have many soul friends, family, soul group, soul family. At some point, we said, we get each other. We're kind of on a certain level, and we want to help each other grow. We're never without our soul's love. We're never without her love. And sometimes we can't feel it, but it is there.